outside communications regarding commissioner business.
Commissioner Lana had discussions with staff on 7A and the applicant's engineer on 7A as well.
Thank you. Okay. Call to public. Members of the public who wish to address the Planning Commission regarding items not on the agenda may do so at this time. Any presentation is for information purposes only. No action will be taken. There's a 4-minute time limit.
Bill Simon, 38555 West 95th Street. Just wanted to let you know I still got mud and water coming down to a creek into my ponds off the Flint project. It's been about 3 years now, and it's silting in, and I hold DeSoto responsible for that. Thank you.
Okay. Have you contacted the city at all to let them know?
I've been in contact with the county. I've been in contact with your engineer, Joe Joseph. He's been out and visited, and the mud keeps running.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you for letting us know. I'm sure someone will follow up with you on that.
I'm sure they will.
Public hearing.
Madam Chairman, can I interrupt for
Yes.
1 second? I think we have the YouTube stream going. We'll check one thing, and then I'm going to exit the room.
Okay.
So give me 1 second. Let me check one thing.
All right.
Test, test. Okay. I'm going to leave you guys in the very capable hands of Edgar. Edgar will text you the code just in case.
Thank you, Brandon.
The information. Make sure the YouTube stream is working. But apologize for the inconvenience, guys.
No problem. Thank you. Okay, Brad.
Yeah, Vice Chair Lane, I was wondering also, you've got this memo on your desk in front of you, highlighted information on preliminary plat. I've had a issue come up with the Flint development. The preliminary plat has been approved, and they're having some issues getting all the right-of-way that they need for Rowan Road. And one of the suggestions is to slide Rowan entirely over onto their property, which would cause additional 30 feet being moved to the east. And because of that, they would lose several lots, about 15 to 16 lots. And so I looked up the information, because final plats and preliminary plats don't have to be identical. But the final plat's actually a property document that gets filed with the county, so that has to be spot on. So my interpretation of this is that because of the inability to get the right-of-way, engineering and the survey have to change, and that would fall into a minor change, or not changing any of the multifamily uses. They're all getting slid to the east, and the single-family use lots are being removed. So it's actually making the development less dense, less intense by about 15 lots. But I wanted to bring this up to the Planning Commission, kind of get consensus. Also, would like to schedule a special meeting for the 12th of August. If we can make that work, because we'll have a final plat, potentially. I just want you to keep that date. But if we have to do a preliminary plat, then we have to notice surrounding property owners. So really, it's kind of your call on whether. My interpretation is that these are minor. It's a minor change based on property survey and engineering issues, which is in our city code. So, but if you feel like you want to have another comment session and see a preliminary plat, we can certainly do that. But we'd like to have that meeting on August 12th.
So I guess the question I have is, if we're fine with it, we can just punt it to the final plat? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you believe it's a minor change to the preliminary plat, it's consistent with the preliminary plat. It's still multifamily, single family. Lot sizes are generally the same. Street configuration is the same. It's just being moved 30 feet to the east, which does eliminate the top row of lots across, I guess, to the west side of the development of the single family homes.
Brad, these single-family homes in the tracts, are they all the same zoning classification?
Yes, yeah. It's all zoned R3, and as in our code reads, you can have single-family duplexes and multifamily in the R3 district, so it doesn't affect any zoning issues.
So I guess what's the reason for the August 12th meeting then? Can we just punt it to the next planning commission meeting?
Well, I think we can do that, but I guess I'd like to reserve that just in case there's a lot of issues. They've got to get public improvement plans, and our typical process is to have a final plat approved before Joe signs off on public improvements, and this process has taken a long time. This issue with the property owner and the right-of-way is really pushed things back. So we're trying to do them a bit of a favor and squeeze a couple weeks out for them, but certainly, and they may not be ready. I'm just asking at this point to save the date, so to speak. But if you want to see a new preliminary plat, then we'll probably have to have a special meeting on the 12th. So it's really, first of all, do you want to see a preliminary plat, or are you okay with the minor change as I see it? Or do you want to have, and then have a special, and save that date for a special meeting?
So essentially, you're just changing the alignment of Rowan Road.
Correct. Yeah, it's just being moved 30 feet to the east, but it has that ripple effect all the way through the development.
So this is a approved preliminary development plan as opposed to an approved preliminary plat? Do we distinguish between those two?
Well, the preliminary plat is really just an internal document that shows how all the services will work: water, sewer, electric, sidewalks, landscaping, lots, things like that. It's not an engineering document, so it doesn't have to be final engineering, as you know, but it needs to be within the envelope of reality, which, as we went through the preliminary plat process, it works. And I don't know, Joe's looked at that and talked to the developer as well, and I think you're comfortable with moving the lots without a significant change in utility systems.
I mean, I would think if staff's fine with the alignment, and since it is a reduction in lots, I mean, I don't know if we need to see it again, but I would really kind of be opposed to having a special meeting. I don't want to
Okay.
set a precedence on having a special meeting because, you know, other developers would, yeah, I don't want to set that.
Right.
But I do want to do the right thing if we need to see the preliminary plat again.
Yeah, well, if I can interject for a moment, we do view this a little bit differently because, and Brad can further elaborate, but the city was really the proponent of having Rowan Road be on the section line. And the developer understood that that right of way would be available. So this is kind of a curveball for them in that the property owner is not willing to negotiate on the right of way. They do have an offer out that ends tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So maybe this will be resolved, but if it's not, they're just asking us to, you know, help them. I think they already have their equipment ready to go. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Ultimately, it's your call whether you want to do a special meeting. You can participate by telephone, so it's not like everybody has to show up at City Hall.
So this is just basically a courtesy to Dan Patrick, since they're kind of in a difficult situation waiting for that, and they're trying to accommodate us, and they're not able. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
What do you think, commissioners?
I would say I would be okay with this much change between preliminary and final. I would be a little concerned about the neighbor to the north, whether he would be put in a position to have to pay the entire cost of Rowan Road rather than split it with the property owner on the west. I mean, this is a decision this developer's made. And in keeping with that, and since Rowan doesn't go anywhere today, I guess I'd be inclined to think it might be a good idea to leave enough space to make a transition back to the property line at the north line.
Well, we would hope that potentially as phase development moves forward, maybe the property owner to the west is maybe a little more agreeable, but at this point,
But right now, it doesn't have anything to do with the property owner to the north, because he's still in the county.
well, they're both in the county. That's part of the issue. The west and north property owners are in unincorporated Johnson County. But actually, I'm sorry, this is actually, north is up on this one, so it kind of should be looking at it this direction. So this is, Rowan is this one here along
Yep.
the west side. But the Flint development, this layout doesn't need to have that 99th Street. That's something that was part of our Southwest Growth Area Plan and does help property develop to the north, and also it's a east-west connection from Sunflower to Edgerton. But that's not contingent on this development occurring.
So again, I would be comfortable with the modification as long as staff's fine with the location of Rowan Road and the reduction in lots. I'd be fine with addressing it
So
on
do
the
we need
final
a
plat.
motion on that then?
Well, Patrick, do we need a motion? I think we're okay with just direction, but I'll defer to you, Patrick.
A motion to accept it, or okay with a verbal, okay?
Yeah, I would prefer a motion actually, if you don't mind.
Sure. Justin, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, make a motion to allow the update to the preliminary plat for Flint Development, or Flint Meadows East, to be addressed on the final plat.
Second? Second. All in favor, or I guess we need to do a roll call.
Milburn,
Yes?
Lane,
Yes,
Martin, Huggins,
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, Brad.
Oh, I guess lastly, on the August 12th meeting, are we, we can just tell them it's going to be on the 26th would be the next meeting in the Planning Commission in August, so. I'm not even sure we're going to need it. Hopefully, property owner will take the offer, but if not, then we might need to have that just to help them along. But once again, it's,
You can just contact us and let us know how that, if it's necessary or not, and then some people can check in if they need to
okay,
online.
Okay, I'm just not a big fan of,
okay.
I don't want to,
I know.
Yeah, well, I'd prefer not to as well, but it's just taken a long time to get to this point, and it's starting to cause some delays on their part. They want to try to get all the roads paved prior to winter, so now they're starting to sweat looking at the clock. I know they're sweating literally because it's hot outside, but now they're starting to look ahead, like if they'd like to have all their infrastructure in place before it gets too cold.
Sure. All right, thank you, Brad. Do you want to, we've got to consider the rezoning the 2 tracks from the RUR to C2?
Yes,
You
that's
well
where we're
clear?
at, Chairman.
All right.
All right, I'll go through the staff report, and then you can open up the public hearing for comment. What you have is 2 additional tracks that are being requested to be rezoned to business general. It's approximately 40 acres. This was before the Planning Commission with 3 different tracks. And one of the tracks was for R3. That has been withdrawn by the developer after discussions with the property owners. He felt like that was one of the more egregious concerns of the neighbors, and so came back with all the tracks being Business General C2. So that's the request at this time. I'll go through the staff report fairly briefly, but you've actually heard it because that's what we talked about last time as well. I would like to show the tracks on page 3 of the staff reports. You can see those are the tracks that are being requested. The other tracks that are now C2 were previously on the Planning Commission agenda from last month. The City Council did ultimately vote to approve those, so those have been rezoned. And so the developers requested to remove the R3, as I said, and proceed with the C2 zoning. Currently, there are now still RUR, which is the county's rural agricultural designation. I'll just briefly go through these zoning compatibility factors. As we talked about, it's rural in nature. Everything north of K10 on Evening Star is rural. The proposed zoning will require a site plan development, which does conclude buffering plans. We'll have them do a traffic study. We'll have them address a lot of concerns that typically come up when we have residential areas next to more intense use, which could be commercial, in this case, business general. It does appear that the property is large enough to adequately create the buffering, things like that, that will be requested under the site plan process. As far as restrictions under the existing zoning, it's been used as farm ground, and the applicant is requesting a higher level of use, which would not be allowed under the RUR zoning designation. Property's been RUR since Johnson County has had zoning, and so it's been recently annexed into the city of DeSoto, and with that, it carries the county's designation, and so it needs to be rezoned to an appropriate DeSoto category to move forward. Is there a need in the community for this? We've had a lot of changes, obviously. When you look at our land use plan, the current land use plan, the land use plans that have been in previous comp plans, all the interchanges, Kill Creek, Lexington, Edgerton, Evening Star do show commercial types and more intensive uses around them to the north and to the south. This property doesn't have the utilities, as we've talked about in the past. The road network, it's paved road. Well, it's a chip seal road. It's not gravel, but it is not certainly up to standards what we would require for a commercial development. So that would have to be improved. The water will be served by Rural Water District 7. There's electrical service nearby, but there will be additional police patrols, things like that will be necessary. So there are impacts, and so I did give it a negative as far as a request, as far as the network, all the changes to the area and the infrastructure needs that are not there influenced my thinking on giving it a negative on this one. But once again, the previous request that was brought for you also had a negative on this item. As far as the environmental impacts, I talked about potential impacts of noise, lighting, stormwater detention, well, the site plan approval, stormwater studies, traffic studies, once again, landscaping, buffering, lighting, all sorts of items that we go through as far as trying to mitigate and soften as much as we can to the surrounding areas. Economic impact, we've always looked at as growth and development as positive for the city. Maybe if you're in a rural area in the county, you don't see it the same way, but cities typically do economic development. That's one of our bailiwicks, so to speak, because we have the ability to provide the water and the sewer and all the items that are necessary for development. So we look, especially on these more busy commercial nodes, it seems like a more appropriate use. As far as the properties that may be detrimentally affected nearby, of course, the folks that spoke at the last meeting, and there are still some here tonight that would like to address the Planning Commission, don't feel comfortable with this. It's a change of their lifestyle and things that they've grown to expect. So there is some negative impacts to their potential quality of life in this area. But when you look at the overall consistency of the comprehensive plan, the growth that DeSoto is experiencing, the fact that there's a 4-lane highway with interchanges rolling right through DeSoto, the fact that it's been on a comprehensive plan for many years. It's on the current land use plan. Now, these tracts are shown as mixed use, which I think Chairman Templin has stated he doesn't like to see that as much, and we will be talking about the land use map in upcoming meetings and updating that. But mixed use does consider business general C2 as a consistent use within the comprehensive plan. So therefore, staff is recommending approval of the change to business general. So with that, I will stand for any questions that you may have.
Anyone have any questions? We all went over this pretty thoroughly last time.
Just a reminder, to please reference the recommendation of, you can just endorse Brad's report, or if you disagree with it, point out, what criteria you disagree with.
Okay. Guess we can go ahead and open the public hearing then. If you'd like to address the commissioners, please come forward, state your name and address, and there is a 4-minute time limit.
Judy Donlin, 9825 Evening Star. On this new piece that's going in was originally 30 acres. Another 9 or so has been added to it that brings it down right next to the houses. This area is also got a creek that goes diagonally across it, making it totally useless for business. There's not enough room to do anything there, but maybe a photo hut if you had a walkout. So I am still vehemently objective to the whole thing. And this last 9 acres it was added, that's just insult to injury.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Jerry Donlin. I live at 9825 Evening Star Road with my wife, you just heard from. We've lived there for the last 40 years. Over that time, Lexington Township, until a portion of the land around us in Lexington Township was recently annexed by you folks, was all zoned rural agricultural. Over the last 40 years, we've seen what rural agricultural development looks like. We've never had a problem with it. In recent years, from Evening Star Road to DeSoto, we've seen and continue to see what commercial looks like. Some of that old ammunition plant has already been developed. There's thousands of acres remaining south of K10 to be developed. I know eventually that land between K10 and us that's undeveloped right now is going to be developed. But before anybody gets in a big hurry to develop it, and I eventually, if I live that long, find out what that looks like, I think you should wait until all those thousands of acres south of K10 are developed. And then, if you want to change the zoning from what it currently is, and we'll all find out what commercial looks like, then do it then. But for the time being, myself and a bunch of my neighbors would like to see the current zoning stay in place as it is.
Thank you.
Bill Simon, 38555 West 95th Street. I'm the guy with the mud. I want to thank you, first of all, from your last meeting for turning down the housing part that was scheduled to go in here, originally planned to go in here. Appreciate that. that would have been a bad move for DeSoto and the county. I agree, I ditto everything he just said. There's thousands of acres over there along 103rd Street on both sides, which is 4-lane, 10 Highway, which is 4-lane, south of 10, that there's all kinds of room for development. And I don't understand why you'd want to come after 40 acres. I know it's because some gentleman bought it and he's trying to sell it to somebody else. He wants to get it rezoned so he can get a premium price off of it. And I just disagree with that. I disagree with business coming in there. And when you got all kinds of space closer to DeSoto, which would be part of DeSoto, and closer to the highway, than to come up Little Evening Star Road and turn in with some driveways over the creek she just mentioned and cause more environmental issues than what we currently have. The second thing is for sewers, and it ain't my business to know that, it's the developers, J.W. Weld business, but how to get sewers from there to the DeSoto sewer plant without disrupting everybody's life again is a question I have. And I have seen no plan that would even illustrate where the sewers might go, where the gas lines might go, where the water might go, etc. And my property backs up to this property. My whole property backs up to this property. And somehow it'll cause me more environmental issues. I can see the Flint warehouse from my house and all the street lights and stuff, and I don't want to see any more of them if I can keep from it. So I appreciate your sponsorship again and not accept this proposal that's on the board right now. And thank you again for what you did on the last one. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. GW Weld, 707 Main Street, Eudora. I'm the applicant on this and appreciate your time to consider this application and certainly understand the neighbors' concerns. That's part of the reason we pulled the R3 request, because we heard from this body and from the neighbors that they were very concerned about multifamily in that location. It's difficult when the future land use map shows mixed use because we don't really know what that means. There's not a mixed-use zoning code in DeSoto, and so it felt like because the future land use map called the first parcels that we rezoned commercial and these parcels something different, mixed use, we felt like R3 was the best thing to request. And when, like I said, we've heard that's not what this body or the neighbors are looking for, so we're coming back now and saying I think the next best thing would be C2, which puts approximately 80 acres there contiguous that would be a business district. I don't see a lot of continued growth north of Evening Star Road of commercial ground. I don't think the neighbors are interested in selling and seeing further commercial development. However, this site is on a K10 exit ramp. The south side of the road is being developed into warehousing and other more intensive uses than what we're asking for. I understand also the comment that we've got an industrial park that has thousands of acres to be developed. However, as you know, access to K10 commercial uses are far different than the industrial uses that are at Astra Park. And I believe the staff has noted that there's been a lot of requests for commercial locations in DeSoto. And I would further say this body unanimously annexed all of this ground into the city. And I assume with the understanding that a development would be coming. It may still be several years before we see a development there. However, what we've seen in DeSoto is because there's so much activity coming, end users are looking for ground that is ready to go and suitable. And what we found is when we're able to rezone property and provide site plans of what could be done on the site, we've been able to find users for that. So we certainly want to do something that is as low impact on the neighbors as it can be. However, we're just asking you to honor the future land use map, that this is future development property, and certainly any development is going to come before this body to see utility plans, site plans, road improvements, and you'll have an opportunity to weigh in on all of those things. So we're just asking to move forward tonight, and then would plan to see you again when we have development plans. So, any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions?
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Judy Donlin, 9825 Evening Star. I'd just like to reiterate what I said in the beginning of this. When the multifamily was an option that he wanted, and came out in the hall and discussed with us after the meeting, we told him we would be fine with single-family dwellings. It's a rural area, single-family would be appropriate, but it's not a good place for businesses, and it's not a good place for multifamily. You know, any development up there should be just more homes. Thank you.
Right. Seeing no one else, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing on this. Commissioners, it's up before you now. Any other discussion?
I was personally glad to see that the R3 proposal was withdrawn. I'm still not thrilled with the C2, but unfortunately it is right along the highway, and I understand these people's concerns very well. I've been through that area a million times. I prefer to be farmland myself, but I don't own the land. There's a couple of things in the staff report that I didn't 100% agree with. Let's see if I've got my notes. On G, it says the extent to which the use is allowed in the proposed zoning would adversely affect the capacity or safety of that portion of the street. The staff report was neutral, and I personally think that should have been a negative. H, with the environmental impacts. Unfortunately, we've already seen some of the negative impacts from Flint, with this gentleman's pond filling in, and can't seem to get it resolved. So I would hope that in the future there is something put into place so that if it isn't complied with, we can do something about. On J, it says the extent to which the zoning may detrimentally affect the nearby property. Now, the finding is neutral. I also think that one should be negative. But all in all, since this is the location where it is and everything around it, other than the farmland, is already C2, they call it progress. I don't agree with the progress, but the man's got a right to do with his land what he needs to. My other concern, hopefully it's going to be a while, because I don't know how far is the nearest sewer line? Is that the one on Edgerton Road?
Yeah, that is correct.
So that's probably a mile. At some point they'll have to bore underneath K10.
Yeah, I don't know, Joe, if we've studied how this area can be sewer.
I would assume so.
I assume it might, when the Flint development in the southwest corner, when it finally gets there, it'll be on Evening Star at that point. So it might get
Could be a lift station.
Lift station.
Anyway, that's kind of where I'm at.
Thank you. Anything else, commissioners?
I think I would agree with John. It's, given the location adjacent to the highway and having an interchange there, it would seem to be appropriate to have commercial use there, but I certainly understand why rural residents would not appreciate it, not want it, but there again, if the property owner requests this and it is appropriate, I feel like it would be right for us to approve it.
Pretty much it.
Nothing else.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I would move that we approve agenda item 5A as presented by staff.
Edgar, roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes,
Martin, Huggins,
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you. Okay, next item on the public hearing is consider approval of DeSoto 2025 zoning map. Brad?
All right, thank you, Chair Lane. What you have before you is the updated zoning map for the city of DeSoto. Over time, Johnson County Ames generally provides, and they review our ordinances and update the information. So it's not like it's available, but upon review and talking to Patrick, we do need to establish an official zoning map for the city of DeSoto. And so I've worked with the county and came up with the zoning map for DeSoto showing all the changes. When I started in 2016, Mike printed me out a zoning map, which I still have on my wall, which I just scribe with my hands as they've been changed. And so I've caught all of them, but Commissioner Schultz found one that I had missed. So kudos to him, but the Grotto development on the corner of Kill Creek and K10 Highway needs to be changed to the C2 and the R2 and R3, which was approved for that. So certainly we'll update that. Also wanted to see you have a decision to make on the recommendation that you just made. Do we want to put that on the map, or we want to hold off on adoption of this until City Council makes a recommendation? That's the problem with bringing these types of things to you, is you have a change and you've got to wait, obviously, for City Council to weigh in before that change becomes official. So, but I did want to at least get the public hearing underway so you could take any public comment on the zoning map, make any suggestions as far as finding errors here and there. But this will be posted on the city's webpage as our official zoning map. And it'll be a process we do need to, or I need to make sure it gets before the Planning Commission every year. Some years, maybe there won't be any changes, but we've kept up with the changes. The information is out there for the public, so it's not like we've been hiding anything. It's just that we have not put an official City of DeSoto seal on our zoning map, and that's what this is about. And this is the process of holding a public hearing and adopting this, and it will go to the City Council for approval. So with that, I'll stand for any questions you have, noting that we have corrections to make for the Kill Creek interchange.
Is there a deadline on this?
There isn't really a deadline. It's just something we need to annually do and look at.
And you said we wanted to get City Council's approval before we actually posted it. Is that what you were?
Well, I guess my only concern is we still have, this C2 zoning does have to be approved by the City Council.
Yeah.
So you could approve the zoning map and then all of a sudden, poof,
Right.
2 weeks from now, it's going to be out of date. So that's why you could table this item and wait till the City Council acts, and then it'll be back before you. You can approve it, and then we can go back to them. And hopefully we won't have a zoning application in between, but you never know.
What did you get one today?
I did not get one today.
It's a deadline, I think, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So no zoning applications have been requested.
Well, I guess we could approve it based on, and then just with the amendments of having these other.
Yeah, that's kind of also what I was thinking. You could approve it knowing that city council could turn down. And then actually, if that were the case, then the RUR would be correct. But
thoughts.
Well, I would be comfortable approving the rezoning plan with the expectation that when if council approves the C2 zoning, we just recommended approval,
right.
that we are approving the map with that change. One thing I would like to say, everybody else probably knows this a lot better than I do, but it sure would be nice if the street names were legible on this.
As far as on the zoning map, or just, yeah, I can get that. I mean, this is a pretty minute version. I can request. I work with Johnson County staff on this, and so we can at least get the major street thoroughfare names a little bit bolder so you can read them easier.
That's a good suggestion. Anybody that wants to look at it there. Might be a little challenge right now.
So when would you send this to the county, Brad? If you go ahead and change that to C, I guess it was recommended for approval, the last zoning, the last agenda item. So if you just change it, just,
Yeah, they've been real good about making it, and especially this change is pretty minor. They'll just change those 2 tracks to C2, and we'll bring it after the recommendation for the city, for the C2 that was just before you, so they'll have a current map.
So what do you need from us tonight then? Just a motion?
I guess to recommend approval of the zoning map with the current recommendation of C2 and update
Okay,
the
gentlemen.
corner of Kill Creek and K10. But then we do need to open the public hearing, Chair.
Oh, excuse me, thank you. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing on this. Anyone who wants to come forward and make a comment may do so. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners? Anyone want to make a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the 2025 update to the DeSoto zoning map with changes that Commissioner Schultz recommended on the Grotto property and the update to the C2 zoning that was recommended for approval this evening.
Second.
Edgar, roll call, please.
Schultz,
Yes.
Huggins,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes,
Milburn.
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you. Old business, we have none. New business, consider improvements in downtown right-of-way for the Johnson County Library. Brad?
All right, thank you, Chair Lane, or Vice Chair. Don't want to give you that.
Whatever that is.
It's been a project that we've had some meetings with the Johnson County Library over the last couple of years. Actually, Brandon and I sat in a couple of meetings, and they've been a process of upgrading a lot of their facilities, and it's DeSoto's turn to get a bit of a facelift. So you can see the existing elevation for the site plan, and then also the rendering that you have in your staff report as far as the improvements to the facade. So there's two parts of this. A lot of the improvements that they're making are in the right of way, so needs planning commission approval. Last time you were here, there was a request for a sign that was in the right of way, so that needs planning commission approval. So we did go through our analysis of the architectural features and just applied those they did a really good job updating the building, changing the facade somewhat, some of the color patterns, it's a very improved structure over what was previously there. It's also a little bit more pedestrian friendly. There's some benches out front, places to sit, gather, move the flagpole. There's some additional landscaping elements, which we all feel is a benefit to the downtown district in DeSoto. I'll just stand for any questions you might have. We do have representatives from Johnson County that would like to address the Planning Commission if you'd like to hear them. But it's a benefit to DeSoto to have this type of improvement downtown. So.
Any questions?
Yeah, I do want to point out, any improvement to downtown DeSoto is a benefit to this city. I do like the elevation, looks great. Like the stuff out in front. I think it's gonna be a great addition. Full disclosure, I do own the building right next door. That building was built in 1907. It's got a rock foundation. I'm a little concerned about the downspout at the northeast corner. Right now, the downspout discharges into a pipe that goes between my building and the library. I just want to make sure that that is addressed properly. It's very tight between the buildings. So I did speak to a civil engineer on this project, and he mentioned a solution of mounting that pipe to the side of the building, the library, and handling that runoff, because I do get water in my basement when that pipe breaks, so I do want to make sure that that is addressed.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, other than that, looks great, and I love the addition to downtown.
Looks nice. Did you want to come forward and speak? Sure. You'll give your name and address, please?
Yeah. My name is Hillary Beshore. My address is 12101 West 110th Street in Overland Park, Kansas. I'm with BC Design Group. I'm the architect for this project, and as Mr. Milburn said, our civil engineer has been in contact with any concerns that you have, and hopefully we have an agreeable solution for those. And I just wanted to stand if there's any other questions about the design or any other comments on this.
Anyone else have anything? Looks great.
Thank you.
Exciting.
It looks awesome.
New upgrade for us. We're always ready for
Yes,
that.
we are all excited. Thank you all.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, what else do we need to do on that? Brad?
Just need a recommendation of approval of the site.
Okay. We need a motion for recommendation of approval.
I make a motion, we recommend approval with addressing the downspout concern.
Good. All right, Edgar, roll call, please.
Huggins,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, I don't have anything else. We have got the calendar for August the 7th for City Council, August the 21st for City Council, and August the 26th for Planning Commission, with a possible meeting August the 12th. Brad will let us know on that.
Yeah, sure will.
I may not be at the August 26th meeting. It's my wife's birthday.
Oh, that would be a good time to take off. All right. Any other comments? Motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
She hasn't told you. You better make fun of me.
She hates it.
Oh, she hates surprises. Oh,